This meeting is being recorded. It's 5:30. We will call in the July 23rd, 2006 RFA Board of Commissioners. Stand for the pledge. The pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Following commissioners have received absence tonight: Commissioner Ryan, Commissioner Sullivan, and Commissioner Byers. Consideration of the agenda.
I need to pull or remove the public records policy discussion. I did not make any progress on that as I was hoping to.
Okay.
I will keep it on for next meeting. Hope that I make progress.
Noted. Approval of the past minutes from our July 9th, 2026. Is there any corrections or amendments? Hearing none, the chair declares the minutes from July 9th approved as presented. Correspondence. Okay. Let's move on to impact mitigation fees and fire marshal update.
All right. Evening, everybody. Nice to see you all. So the last time we talked, I told you guys I was going to be working on putting together a little bit more of a comprehensive report. Just aside from showing fire impact fees going into some other areas so that you guys could see more impactful information other than just impact fees. So I put together this report. This is going to be a biannual report. So we'll do one July and then we'll do one again at the end of the year, which will kind of also encompass the end of the year report. So that information will go into the official end of the year report that we send out. So what this report shows is a little bit of information that kind of encompasses everything that the fire marshal's office has been working on throughout the year so far. The first page is going over fire incident data year to date. So January 1st to July 1st, we had a total of 19 fires that were investigated. So those are typically fires that are larger in nature, usually involve a commercial or residential structure. We had a total count of 105 fires, and I apologize for the small type. It's kind of hard to read, but these basically show the different types of fire incidents that we are tracking through the new program NERIS. And so you can see that outside other fires is what our largest fire incident rate was at 23, trash and rubbish fires at 21, vegetation and grass fires at 20. So those are the largest amount of fire calls encompassing the total. And then vehicle fires at 2, dumpster fires at 4, confined cooking fires at 7. Structural involvement is kind of a bigger one that we like to pay attention to because those typically are the higher cost fires. So we were at 11 so far for the year, which is actually down from last year. But I thought this would be good information for you guys to kind of see, where we're at in a given year, and then where we're at the end of the year, and then being able to track this data year to year so that we can start seeing some trends. Are we trending in the right direction or are we not? And what do we do to mitigate future fires? Any questions about that?
Yeah. Biggest category of those incidents would give it a 4 incidents. What is that other outside fire that's, since it's not trash and it's not vegetation? What is it?
Other outside fire is anything and everything that is not available in the list. So if it's like, it's kind of just something, yeah, could be a bark fire. Yeah. Yeah, NERIS is, when they redid that whole program, going away from infers, they were trying to get a little bit more granular in the types of fires that we could categorize. So the state has a better ability to track where our fire problems are. And if everybody had the same data we had, you could delineate that we have a problem with other outside fires. So then we got to start asking questions. Why do we keep having, a problem with other outside fires? So, and that could be, typically those are going to be like your grass fires. So anything that's, my neighbor's backyard caught on fire, and maybe it was a barbecue, maybe it was a firework. But we're also tracking firework data too through NARIS now. We don't do the paperwork and send it to the state anymore. So, any other questions about that? This next page is just something that we're tracking. We get a lot of information from the crews on buildings that they go to frequently for false alarms or nuisance alarms. Fire alarm systems are great, but as they age, they can cause problems, and or if they're not taken care of, they can cause problems. So we're trying to track this because in any given year, we're usually somewhere between 800 and 1,000 nuisance and or false alarms. But the information that we're getting is only as good as what's being reported. So we're trying to work with the crews as much as we can moving forward to make sure that they're tracking this information, because we want to know that so that we can try to solve that problem. Whether that's through dealing with building management or owners directly, or going through the individual cities to say, hey, we have a problem at this building. We need your help to try and drive down these false alarms. So it's actually really not terrible numbers for half a year. If this was fully tracked data, 56 false alarms isn't terrible. I'd be a little bit more worried if we were hitting the 400 or 500 range. But we are definitely doing better than what we had last year. And I think a lot of that has to do with the tracking of inspection, testing, and maintenance through Brycer. Jennifer Kunkel has been very instrumental in that, and we've put a lot of emphasis on it in the last 2 years. And so our numbers have come down quite considerably as far as the systems being non-compliant. And that's what's here on this next page. So this is our TCE update. When we first, 2 years ago, we were down into the low 70 percentile on systems that were actually compliant. And this has a direct correlation to the amount of false alarms that crews are going on. So as of the time that I made this report, we're sitting at 85% compliance throughout all of the jurisdictions that we serve. So that just essentially means that 85% of the buildings that have a fire alarm system or a sprinkler system or any other trackable system, that those systems are up to date. So it's really important for us to make sure that we have workable systems and that they're in good working condition. That drives down our false alarms and our nuisance alarms for the crews. So we'll keep doing that, and we're getting a lot better numbers with this, and a lot better compliance as well. The cities have been great partners in helping us on the code enforcement side, because we do get a few people who don't want to spend the money to make sure these systems are working well. But I've been really happy with where we've gone. We're definitely trending in the right direction. Always looking for 90% or higher. So we kind of fluctuate between 85 and 90 at any given point in the year, but we're doing really well with that. Any questions on that information? TCE is the compliance engine. The parent company name is Brycer. So there's two companies that most departments use. It's either going to be TCE or it's going to be Tigris, and those are just tracking agencies. So they track all of these systems on an annual basis, and when there's dates within each system for each building, and it says this is when your system is supposed to be inspected. And if they go 30 days past that date, they get a notice. It basically looks like it comes from me. And then Jennifer, she manages all of that. So she keeps up on all that stuff, works with the deputy fire marshal group to make sure that they go out and talk with the building representatives and managers to make sure that they understand what the need is. And then that's been working out really well. Next is the inspections year to date. So we're doing really well in that too. And again, this all kind of translates and works with this other information that I've discussed already on the fire alarm, fire sprinkler side of things, inspection, testing, and maintenance. but also developing good relationships with our business owners and our commercial structures, all the property management companies, and all of the deputy fire marshals have been doing really, really good work. Last year, we were at like 92% completion for inspections. That's like out of the ballpark type stuff. Most departments are lucky to get to 60+% on their inspection rates. So that does a lot of things. It drives down our incident rates for fires, injuries, all kinds of different stuff. So as an example, Russ Holmes went into a business today in Lake Forest Park, and it was a nail salon. And when he walked in there, they had covered their entire ceiling with sheets, make it look like a giant cloud, and they kind of had them pinned up and covering every single sprinkler system. All the sprinkler heads were covered, so that kind of stuff, it doesn't seem like a big deal to people, but he went in and educated them to say, hey, you can't do this, and here's why. And they were like, wow, I didn't think about that, right? So each one of those interactions that we have is a big deal to a business owner, to let them know that we're out here to make sure that your business is safe and developing those relationships. And so I always like to hear those kinds of stories. Engine companies are doing really well on their inspections as well. So super happy with these numbers. And I like to, tout that Shoreline Fire does really, really well in this department compared to a lot of our neighboring jurisdictions. And I often get asked during our fire marshals meetings, how do you guys do that? And I say, because we have a good crew, we have a good team of people, and we have a good program in place, and we put emphasis on this. So I think that we should be proud of that as a department, because a lot of departments, especially RFAs, they struggle with that.
Also add to that kind of compliance is how we adopted our 3.2 their WSRB rating, thanks to Ryan and his efforts and others, his honors when he was in training and so forth. But they look at those compliance numbers, and that has a big impact on that section of the rating.
Yeah, thanks for that, Chief. That's definitely true. This all really ties into when WSRB comes around. They're going to look at all these numbers. They're going to look at our staff and how well they're trained, and that drives our WSRB rating way down. Next is everybody's favorite, fire impact fees collected year to date. As you can see, if you can remember what you guys were probably looking at this time last year, these numbers have gone down just a little bit. A lot of this has to do with the trending of the current building that's going on. So we've left the multifamily building era for a time. A lot of that has to do with the climate that we're in, and people wanting to spend money or not spend money. The focus has shifted to residential. So when Washington State passed the middle housing House bill, I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but anyways, that shaped a lot of what is happening throughout the state. So just about every pre-app that I'm doing right now is for middle housing. It's either a single family residence or it's a detached accessory dwelling unit. So the impact fees have sharply gone down, right? Because we're not getting $1 million for every multifamily building that's going up. But with all that said, I pay attention to not just what's going on in the city, but also what's going on within the building community. And there is word on the street is that multifamily is going to start inching back up again. So between 27 and 28, we should see a lot of the multifamily buildings that we were supposed to see pop back up again. So areas near 148th Street Station, we have a lot of building that was supposed to happen over there that kind of got put on hold. Now that North City Water finished up their upgrades along that area, we're going to see a lot of those projects come back up. So our impact fees will start to jump back up again. Any questions about fire impact fees? And on this sheet also shows all the other fees that we collect, the permitting fees, Kenmore, Lake Forest Park operational permit fees. What do we got? Tank permits. So there's just a lot of little bits of information that necessarily don't have to do with fire impact fees, but I think it's important for you guys to see the other fees that we're collecting in different buckets. So you can see kind of our totals of where we're at. Mm-hmm.
That comes out like a February 2026. There's like a massively bigger or just like a particular project that they a bunch of impact fees.
Yeah, anytime you see a big bump in impact fees, it's usually a large project that just paid out. So that was probably the Block D. That's over at Shoreline Place. So they got their, once they get their building permit, they have to pay their fire impact fees. So we'll get the Block D, I believe we have one building at 280 something units, and then the other one around the same. So it's over 500 units. And that project is like a 15-year project in total. So when the Sears building comes down, there's going to be 4 other phases that are going in there. It's I've been told it's going to be kind of like the downtown Redmond core that they built. Maybe not quite as large, but there's going to be a park in there. There's going to be a ton of retail. It's well over 1,000 units. So those are impact fees that will be coming. It's just going to be kind of a drip.
Have you seen that just in Shoreline? Also the first part of Kenmore.
It's everywhere right now. The DADUs aren't as busy here in Kenmore. Kenmore tends to concentrate more on single family residential, small tracts between 3 and 8 single family residents. But they are kind of starting to get a little bit more involved in the detached accessory dwelling units. Lake Forest Park is Lake Forest Park. They're about the same as they've always been. We're getting a couple of DADUs there and a couple of single family residents, but no plans for any commercial that I know of yet. And then this next page is the other part that I put on there for these are projected impact fees for projects that are still either under review, waiting customer info. Waiting customer info typically means that the city needs something from them in order for them to move to the next phase of their permitting process. But these are always projects that are still they're at the yellow light, right? They're waiting, I should say it differently. They're at the red light waiting for it to turn green.
Koya's got torn apart a little bit now. Demo's done and digging the hole.
Yeah, that was the last project that just got started was that. So that's a 55 and older community that's also going to have a memory care wing, very complicated building. But yeah, we got a fair amount of impact fees out of that one as well.
Once they got started.
Oh yeah, no, there'll be something, a hole in the ground and then something coming out of it probably in the next 3 or 4 months. Yeah. Any questions about future fire impact fees? Okay. And then again, this is just a little tidbit on permitting and development, which we've already talked about. Like I said, a lot of this is being concentrated within single family residence and detached accessory dwelling units. So far, year to date, we've done 333 plan reviews, 41 in Kenmore and 53 in Lake Forest Park. We've gotten a lot more involved in Lake Forest Park on the permitting side. We didn't really have a formal process with them. 5 years ago, I was walking over to the downtown city building and looking at paper plans. So we've gone a completely different direction with them, and everything's online now. We have a more formal process in place, so we've gotten a lot more review templates and projects to review for them. So that's been good. 934 construction inspections have been completed throughout Kenmore, Lake Forest Park, and Shoreline. Nothing going on in the town of Woodway. So the deputy fire marshal has been very busy with that side of things. And the last bit here is on the public education and community outreach highlights. Michelle continues to be really busy with doing all kinds of different stuff, along with Jennifer Kunkel helping out as well. Between the two of them, they've been working on car seat checks, lots of CPR classes within public schools and businesses, Station 62 visits, engine visits, and conferences and classes. Michelle's actually currently deployed at one of our fires down in Oregon and doing great stuff down there and learning some new things on that front. So that's been a good experience for her. And, we continue to demonstrate strong commitment throughout the communities on the education side. Despite being in a larger area, Michelle's done a great job of utilizing the deputy fire marshals to help her out to maintain a high level of community outreach and classes. So I'm excited for the future on that, and as we continue to grow. And the deputy fire marshal group has been really stepping up to help out with that, so that's been great to see. Any other questions on any of this information?
I'll say that our martial office is a lot different than it was when I was in it 30 years ago.
Yeah, we're getting busier, and I hope to try and keep improving on this report, so you guys have good relevant information. You can see what we're working on, and how we're integrating with operations too, to try and make sure that we're helping them out as much as we can so that they can do their jobs effectively. Oh, super. Very good. Thank you.
Mr. Pratt was an environment central one. So here.
Thank you.
Out of squares.
Just put a little dot in the middle of the table.
We got Kramer sitting over.
I hit my mark
too.
Did I ask for public comment tonight?
No, I don't. Oh, I'm sorry.
Libby? Nothing? Okay, perfect. Backing up a little bit. Standing agenda warrants. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to accept disbursements in the amount of $4,137,175.88.
Been motioned by Commissioner Headland and seconded by Commissioner Webster. Is there any comments or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Josh? You there?
Aye. Sorry.
Thank you.
Find the button.
Okay, passes unanimously. Does any commissioners have anything to report? Welcome back. Thank you. Financial report, strategic. All right, let's go down to RFA activity reports. We'll start with Chief Cowan. You've completed nine uniform CBA negotiations. How many do we have?
We haven't had one in a while. I feel like we're very, very close to finishing. I've been trying to find time over the last couple of weeks to finish up some job description and all that. I did some drafts this afternoon and hope to get them to Doug hopefully tomorrow. We've done none. We don't have any other schedule.
Oh, okay.
I feel like we're pretty close.
Okay.
I do have an update on the HR director or the director of HR. Train my brain. I want to compliment all of our staff that have been involved in and we've been felt like the last couple of weeks have just been lots of interviews. We did a lot of interviews for firefighters. Andres and others have been doing interviews for company level. We did lieutenant captain interviews today. We did director of HR interviews earlier this week. And the overall quality of the candidates that we are seeing is really very good. Especially, compared to some of the other processes that we've had. I just want to compliment everybody that's been involved. We interviewed 20 new candidates for new firefighter candidates, and I don't know if there's any one of them that would be an absolute no. And we felt like there was probably about 17 that were, at let's hire them kind of, phase. So that was really exciting. We ended up interviewing 3 director of HR candidates and made a conditional offer to one. Again, all 3 of them, we could have hired them, and they all came with different strengths, and we felt like it was a tough choice, but it's good to have that tough choice. So we have not locked in a date for that. She is, checking out. We're doing conditional offers. We'll do a background check and all that. The contract will be almost identical to Rachel's, the Director of Administration and Finance. And I'm hoping that I'll have that in front of you next meeting once we lock down a date. I'm just waiting for a date and an estimate on when we can get the background check done and all that. So anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Are there any other questions?
Firefighter applicants, predominantly laterals or new?
No, not very many lateral. I mean, there were some that had, were working volunteering or part-time, up in Snohomish County and things of that nature. I will share that what was kind of surprising was the number of military applicants that had experience in the military and all that. Probably, I don't have the numbers exactly, but I would probably say 40%, about 40%. So it was kind of cool, and we ended up hiring, quite a few of them. Our cadets did very well too through the process, and so we had some high quality candidates. It was surprising that we didn't have as many female applicants come through this time around. We ended up interviewing one and made that offer. I'm not revealing any names yet because we're still going through the background checks, and all that. But yeah.
I have a couple of questions. You have an agenda item on Bothell and Snow 10, so maybe because you have an item in your strategic activity RFA report about Snow 10 and City of Bothell. I was just curious what happened on July 21st.
On July 21st. Well, I have that.
Yeah,
I'll be providing that under old business.
Okay.
Yes.
And let's move on to Chief Stein. Going for Chief Stein. Okay, hearing them, let's move on to Deputy Chief Arms.
Anything that Chief Orms wants to highlight?
We launched our position response this week. It's not pretty exciting. Yesterday.
Yeah.
Speak up.
Yeah, so that was exciting. Position response.
Quite had some really positive things to say about it. I got a chance to talk to him before the meeting. Okay, well, let's move on to old business and update on RFA. Chief?
So this, I'll back up to Snow 10 first. So after our last meeting, the following week, so last Tuesday, we had the Snow 10 Board of Commissioner meeting and had some conversations and debate about what the impacts were going to be. I'll preface all of this that the RFA taxpayers will see pretty good relief in 2028. And so will Snow 10, not as much, but Snow 10 taxpayers will see a decrease as well. What we don't know is what Bothell will do. And so that is the hot topic. It's kind of a common theme in both the Snow 10 meeting and the 21st Bothell meeting. And Snow 10, because one of the commissioners is our current employee of the fire department, could not vote on it. So there's out of the 3 commissioners, the 2, they both had to vote yes, and they both did, and approved the going to the ballot and the explanatory statement. And so we're processing through that. We're still populating the pro-con committee, and that'll get populated next week. This is for Snow 10. And that's about it for that. Then earlier this week on Tuesday, the city of Bothell had their meeting and did basically the same thing, considered the amended RFA governing documents and had deliberation, and then approved by a 7-0 vote to push it to the November ballot as well. There was still there's questions again revolving around some of the finances. There was questions about levels of service and all that. I was there, but I wasn't able to speak. And so there's still some, right now we've just been building up to getting all the legal stuff and the governing documents and all the statements and everything prepared. And now that we've got both organizations approving it to the November ballot, we need to pivot to the outreach and education, all that. And so I feel like we'll be able to address a lot of the questions that have been coming up with our outreach and all that. But there's still questions that people are asking. So they had 2 people sign up. Their pro-con committee window had already closed at that point. They had 2 people that had signed up for the pro committee, none for the con. They populated with the mayor to make a 3rd on the pro committee. So they're preparing all of that ballot language and so forth, which will go to King County, and King County will then share that with Snohomish County, because Bothell is both counties, but the county of record, if you will, is King County. So it all goes to King County. They'll prepare all the statements, and then they'll share it with Snohomish County to mimic what's being done in the voters pamphlet and all that in King County. Obviously, Snow 10 will just work with Snohomish County. So a lot of movement. This has been a lot of effort, and it's been recognized and discussed. And in fact, at length in the Bothell Council meeting, it was kind of like, well, some people would think that we've been talking about this for the last 2 or 3 years, but some people would also say we've been talking about it for the last 2 or 3 decades. And so I think there was a lot of goodwill and good feelings and support for the fact that we were actually getting to this place where we could put it to the voters to make the decision. So there was, again, a lot of good talk or good discussion and support for it. And that's the quick version. So any questions on any of that? Did I address?
Yeah, when does Bothell have to decide how they will adjust their own property tax collection?
That's a good question, and they did start to talk about where they're working through the biennial budget right now, and they expect that they'll have an idea over the next month or 2, but it's not going to get defined until 2028. But what they have been talking about is at how far are they going to? They are going to drop it. They just have not defined how far they're going to drop it, and so they're hoping that over the next month or so that part of that can be in the outreach. And whatever we say is going to have to be a good faith. This is our estimate on that, because 2027 will be set, and then we'll be in 2027. This board, as part of the bigger RFA, will be sending the budget for 2028, and we'll have an input on what the overall impacts are. In the meantime, the city will, lower their property tax rate. They are collecting about $1.69 total. 78.3 cents of it is for general fund, not targeted to the public safety or safe streets. So about 78.3 cents is for the general fund. What they drop that to, not so sure. We have estimated that we're hoping that we can be in the 45-cent range-ish. And again, a lot of just estimates at this point.
Do they have building impact fees for their place?
Sure. Yeah. They have an impact fee program, but that, as the Bothell Fire Chief, that is one thing that I'm going to be working on over the next few weeks in preparation for when the council comes back into session in September. They take August off to prepare a proposal for them to increase their impact fees in the city. Their impact fees are very low, And I would like for the city to commit to a similar path as to what we have done, which is to use impact fees and an LTGO process to help fund the new stations and lower or limit the impacts to our taxpayers. That's where it belongs. It rolled. The thing rolled. I was trying to catch it. Anyway, and to limit the size of the UTGO bond in a similar fashion to what we did with Station 63 and similar to my plan for 62, which is to fund part of the station with an LTGO using impact fees to pay off that annual payment. And I'd like to take the same approach with Bothell, but the only way we can do that would be to increase those impact fees in Bothell to a higher level. Right now, it's $136 ish. Yeah, it's very, very low. And I've talked about this at different meetings at a strategic level, but we need to put a proposal together for the council to consider.
Okay, let's move on to discussion of MIH program.
So last meeting, I introduced the idea of looking at how we utilize Aid 157 and augmenting and improving our support for the MIH program, which we really need to do. And you asked some good questions. I was just introducing the topic, and I've got some data I want to share with you. Well, actually, I'll share with you, and then I'll give you my proposal, which is, when we looked at the number, we're averaging just under 2 responses shift and about 0.44 transports per shift. 25% of the calls are in the first due area of Station 57. So we are utilizing Aid 157 as intended to float to, say, the 51 area or even up into the 63 area. However, I think that, and my conversations with the rest of the executive team too, there's 2 different issues here, and they're somewhat intertwined and so forth. And that is, how do we use Aid 157? And how do we not only use it now, but how do we want to use it in the future? But also, what are we doing for MIH, and how are we going to augment what the support is there, and to try to achieve the longer term vision, of which Chief Kennison has some really cool ideas, and so does Dr. McCoy, about where we can go with it in the future. And it's a multi-phase, multi-year. It's not something that we can just turn the key and be done with it. So what I'd like to suggest is that we set up instead of, because it could be a long discussion here in this meeting and all that, is to set up a subcommittee and put Andres and Stroyan and any of the commissioners that want to discuss this and really come up with different ideas and come up with some different proposals that we can bring back in a more summarized approach to the board to take action on. So that's my suggestion tonight, and my proposal is that we set up a subcommittee. And I know that some of you are pretty excited about what we do and how do we utilize the resources that we have. What I'm not interested in doing right now, because you've heard me say this before, is just increasing overtime. For the MIH program, it's increasing overtime and paying that. Our overtime is not manageable right now, and so. That's one of the reasons why we are making 14, why we made conditional offers to 14 as part of our plan for 2027. But that's my proposal, is to set up a subcommittee to take a deeper dive at this. With your support, of course.
Anybody interested?
I'd be interested. I think my only constraint might be scheduling.
Okay.
If I'm able to, I'll attend as often as I'm able. I would like to participate.
Well, hopefully a meeting or two is, depending on the length of the meetings, and the information or research that we have to do, we might be able to, at least get some good traction.
That's true. So it doesn't have to be like a long-term subcommittee.
I don't think so. I mean, it could be longer or be repopulated as we move through the different phases potentially of the MIH expansion. So
I'd be interested.
So Rick and Eric.
Chief, I'm happy to serve on that committee too.
Okay. Thank you. And Tyler, we can reach out to them to see if there's interest. We can have up to 5, and then we're okay. So,
Two.
so what I'll do is I'll delegate this to, Chief Orms.
Two, yeah. So we've got five.
Okay. I'm gonna delegate this to Chief Orms to lead, and he can help, schedule and coordinate, meetings, and we'll go from there. So, all right, thank you so much.
Personnel contracts.
So as we've discussed, what we've been doing with kind of some of the restructuring our administrative positions and pivoting from the chief administrative officer to elevating director of administration and finance and director of HR and so forth. I needed to, and putting our executive assistant on a personal services contract, I needed to rewrite one contract and I created another one for your consideration. Commensurate with the scope of work that we're looking at and some of the discussions that we've had over the past few months. Were there questions about what we're intending to do, or
Has everybody had time to read that?
This afternoon.
they're not dissimilar from what we've already have. Okay.
Any questions? What was there a motion?
Sure, I make a motion. I move to authorize the RFA Government Board of Commissioners to approve and sign the Director of Administration / Finance and the Executive Assistant employment agreements.
I'll second that. Motion by Commissioner Admin, seconded by Commissioner Woolen. Any further comments or? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
New business. 27 EMT class.
So we're going to run into the same issue that we had earlier this year with this room being tied up for EMT class and then academy. So to make this as clean and simple and as appropriate as possible would be to consider, and we're a little early, but we want to make sure that we didn't forget about it, I guess. And I want to thank Beatrice for championing this. Is to change the resolution for our 2027 schedule, similar to what we did this year or earlier this year, is all the meetings up through May, June, May, end of May to be at 61. So just wanted to inform you of that, and then that will get incorporated into, unless there's concerns of incorporating that into the resolution that will be forthcoming.
And then get up all the meetings after that at 51.
Well, that is part of it. I will, since you asked, so I will share with you. I will share with you a how about a 3-minute vision. So one of the things that we've talked about is if Buffalo joins the RFA and we are looking at where we want our headquarters to be, we have talked about moving headquarters down to here so it's more centrally located. One of the things that I'm pretty excited about would be to set up so that we don't run into technical, having to set up and kind of almost like duct tape, things together, is to set up like, whether it's in this room or the 61 room, like a more of a permanent dais kind of setup that's more professional and more established, so that it's not work on Beatrice or myself or anybody moving tables around or setting this up or moving the mic or, things of that nature. And so part of this conversation is, and we've been discussing it at the executive team level too, we do have TCA Architecture that's doing the study of an evaluation of office space here and at 61. And I've added that onto the list of like, what would this look like? I don't know if 9 people can fit here. We may end up setting this up permanently up at 61. We may do it here. We will come back. I'm just framing this as part of the discussion that we will have in the future. I don't have any answers at this point, but I am trying to look at some better solutions that really elevates our ability to have meetings.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm kind of half joking, but it is, obviously it's more convenient for people who live in this area to meet here, but it's obviously more convenient for people who live in Shoreline to meet in Shoreline. So it is nice that we have the ability to kind of divide it up.
One of my,
What's that?
I've been finding a lot of people doing Zoom,
Yeah, Zoom's always an
Zoom.
option as well. It just seems like you can have a better conversation in person.
Yeah.
one of the things, there are two pieces to this that I'm excited about, so that when we have updates and things, if you all want to be able to look at and look at a document or be able to, if you had your own little workspace, and then you don't have to have a view, because everything would be on that screen. And so you could all be facing, if we had an audience or more of an audience, you could actually be facing outward and still have the screen, instead of trying to set up the room so that we all have a view of the projected screen and so forth like that. And part of our, I think I'm going to speak for Beatrice and myself. Part of our issues too is like picking up and coming down here, moving and setting up, and there's a time loss in there. And then even more importantly too, if I'm like, oh, dang it, I left that document sitting on my computer or sitting on my desk. So working where we're having the meeting is a benefit. So, but again, I don't know if this space is going to be good or not, or if our permanent fix is at 61, which would mean everybody moving to, if our headquarters was here. So we're going to play with a bunch of these things. I do recognize that, having not only audience, but our board having to travel, is an impact for you all too. So I'm trying to find a good place on this.
And I think, from your vision of like technologically how it would work, I mean, essentially what you're describing would be to have a setup like council chambers for Bothell or council chambers for Kenmore. I mean, they have a fairly, they can migrate down for a smaller setup if they need to, but the typical setup is each person has a monitor right in front where the presentation is shown.
Right.
So you can, and it's all set up. So, and I would think once, especially as, from a budget standpoint, as an RFA, assuming the whole thing goes, I feel like, relative to compared to say the city of Bothell and how much they allocate on technology for that sort of thing, I would think we could justify that sort of thing, to make it work better.
I am excited about becoming not only more professional, higher level of service, but actually being more efficient, for board setup, board preparation and so forth, like not just the seats and all that, but like the packets. And if some of this, and we got to a more digital, preparation, like, what gets printed, and that would be maybe conditional on each of you all. It's like, I don't need it. It's all up on the computer. I can scroll through it, or I do need it or whatever. And I think there's multiple different areas of efficiencies that we can gain in doing this and elevate. And it's going to take some money to set up, but I think it's worth it.
I mean, there's
So I'm going to interject here just for a second. This was not on the agenda because this was a special meeting.
Oh, yeah.
It should not be discussed.
Thank you.
We
Okay.
kind of went.
Yeah.
That way.
it stemmed from the EMT class.
I know. It did stem from the conflicts that we have here with meetings and with our EMT class. But thank you. You're right. This
So
is a broader discussion.
put it on
Thank you,
the agenda
Beatrice and Kim.
next time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving on to projected agenda.
My mind is
which
what I was
is
gonna
on our agenda. We have any conflicts coming up for planned absences? No. Do we need to move our September 17th meeting to because of the leadership summit?
Probably yes. Yes, we do. Thank you.
That'd have to be the North Shore one. So that's the same day that North Shore has.
Right,
So I
right.
can move over.
Or cancel it. Depending on what we have on the docket. Thank you.
We can bound. future then.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I would, since we're looking that far out, I will be gone that following week too. But if you guys want to have a meeting, then one of the deputy chiefs. Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else?
What day?
Okay.
What
It
day
is-
is the change?
We haven't decided yet.
They're just putting it out there, do we need to? Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, 6:20, meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, Josh, bye, Doug.